Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is The Gailey Show. I am your host, JP Darabagosian. We are your answer to the question, what is a queer thing I can read, watch, or go to in the Twin Cities and beyond? And I am so thrilled to have the co-founder of the Queer and Funny Improv Festival, which is happening this weekend. We're going to talk about the shows that you can go to tonight and Sunday night. Jada Pulley, welcome to The Gailey Show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, all right, tell me about let's start with the festival. Tell me about the Queer and Funny Improv Festival, because you've got not just shows to go to, you've also got workshops that people can do.
Yeah, so we have the name kind of says it. It's queer and funny. It's improv. We're going to be doing workshops where you can come and learn how to do improv yourself, whether or not you have done it before, don't have experience, or you're a pro. We'll have something that can season your craft. We'll have musical improv, things about just building confidence, or just letting gifts that you get be utilized. And we'll also have a jam, which is like a low-key way to just do improv in a supportive environment. That is the only part of our festival that is for people who identify as queer only. The rest of the festival obviously centers queer people, but is welcome to people of all genders and orientations, because we can all use a little gay magic in our lives. And then, of course, there's the shows, 7 to 9 at Red Eye Theater. We've got people coming in for the first time this year. We're getting bigger every year, so we've gotten people coming in from the exotic lands of Baltimore, New York, Dallas, and more, as well as a lot of local favorites here in the improv scene. And everything is pay what you can. We were fortunate enough to get a grant this year, so we're passing the savings on to you.
So it's at the Red Eye Theater.
Yes.
And do people get tickets online, or they can just show up at the door?
Both. Obviously, it soothes my event organizer heart if people get tickets in advance, which you can do on queerandfunny.com. There's a big link right at the top that can take you to those pay what you can tickets, or you can just show up at the door and we'll get you settled. Either way, we'll be happy to have you for as much or as little as you want to be there, and it'll be great. Just get there and we'll figure the rest out.
Just get there. So let's talk about this evening. So 7 o'clock, the shows start. Now it's improv, but there are shows. So let's walk through. So there is a show called Sitzprov, Mr. Queer Armando, Malik and Rashid, that are all this evening at 7 o'clock. So why don't we start with Sitzprov? How does this show work since it's improv?
Yeah. So because it's improv, I can't tell you a lot about these shows, except for like every show kind of has their like little box that they play in, but I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. But I'll tell you that Sitzprov is a duo slash with a musical accompaniment, because it is a musical. Let's say they describe it as a workshop. So it's like people who are putting on a musical theater production, but you're seeing the behind the scenes action too. So you get to see the fun little rehearsal bits as well as everything else. So, and that'll be a really fun time. Laura Berger and Chris Rodriguez are one of those local favorites that I talked about earlier. So I know they're going to bring something gold. And if you want to hear about all of them, Mr. is just basically two queer guys talking about life, and maybe doing some improv scenes too, is how they describe themselves. They're just very silly. And I just love their realness and just like their chemistry on stage. They work together a lot. One of them is the PCA for the other, so they spend a lot of time together and know each other very intimately. So just seeing them poke fun at each other is very fun. And then the Queer Armando, which we're gonna get a sexier name for, but just forgot about that. But Armando, if you do know improv jargon, is It's basically improv that's based on storytelling. So the Queer Mondo is
Hmm.
going to invite queer elders to come and share their stories, and then they're going to do improv based on it that'll treat the stories with the respect and care it deserves, but also probably make it very silly.
Wow. Oh, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool. What a great, like, way of sharing intergenerational stories. We don't get that a lot. So to provide a forum for that is really, I love that. And then you've got Malik and Rashid, which closes out the
Yes.
evening.
Yes. Last but not least, this is the group from the exotic land of Baltimore. So they're. I was so happy to get them to come. They're a beautiful black man duo, and they just have really quick wit and like just unmatched chemistry, and they're just gonna do like a series of scenes that are gonna blow my mind. I have no idea what to say because they're kind of pretty loose and goose with how their form is, but I just know it's gonna be fun. And yeah, what you were saying about the Armando storytelling, I was so excited for that show too because I think it's really important to have like intergenerational
Hmm.
experiences because yeah, queer people get old and that's amazing. And also they come in really young and just being able to like support each other and learn from each other at our different levels of experience and journeys in the world is really important to me. So, yeah, people of all ages should come and feel excited to laugh together, is my hope.
Right? We had a guest earlier on this year, Claude. I will link to Claude's music because Claude was talking about intergenerational storytelling as in terms of not just, we have an idea of chosen family, which is present, but you can have chosen ancestors, right, as well as
Mm.
queer people. And so I just always love that idea that's coming forward now about the intergenerational relationships that we can have from the ancestors down to, the elders in the community. Um, I was reading, Jada, that you call yourself an improv evangelist. Tell me more.
Oh, you cannot escape things that you say on the media. So I'll be careful with what I say today. But I stand by it. I am definitely an improv evangelist because every chance I get, there are two things that I will mention. One is how much I love my cat. Two is how everybody should try improv. You don't have to perform, but I think the skills that improv teaches and just the joy that it taps into is something that everybody in the world can benefit from. So I'm always trying to pitch it to me like mixed success because some people are very terrified, but I will chip away at them until just break down those walls because that's what evangelists do.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So way way back in the day, my first academic career was in theater, and I
Mhm.
always appreciated when I learned years later how Oprah was like, if you're gonna do leadership course tracks, you should always take theater courses because it teaches you how to have presence and how to communicate in a way like the actual human interaction stuff. Not like we learn in public speaking, right, where you write your speeches and then you give them at the end of the semester. And so I can say, as somebody who's tried, I've tried to do that, like in subsequent careers, to take those lessons that I learned in the theater and apply them and help teach them to other folks. And so I love why I wanted to bring it up with you is that I love that you're doing that because there are so many day to day skills that improv can give to people that you can use where you may not think, how am I going to use this in my career? Actually, there are a lot of things when you have to navigate a meeting or you're doing like a vision, mission, statement stuff, and you want to do yes and type of work. And sorry, that's like the only principle that I remember left from my improv.
It's core for a reason. Like that's foundational.
Right.
I love it. And if you come to the Queer and Funny Improv Festival, and get me alone, or in a small group, I can do like a disciple style lecture on like all of the benefits of improv because what you're saying totally resonates and I could like go off. I have a shirt that says like ask me about improv if you have a couple hours, so I mean it. But of
Well,
course,
that's
I will
a
respect.
well,
Go ahead.
yes, yeah, but no. So that's kind of a great segue to the workshops that you all are having during the
Hmm.
day, and so you've got workshops that are available on Sunday during the day. Talk to me about why you wanted to have workshops and what you're offering in addition to the shows themselves.
Yeah. I want to have workshops because part of our mission is uplifting the art of improv itself. So it's more than just letting people see the magic that spontaneous creation can create, but it's also teaching those skills because I think there's this a quote that's like everyone can cook, everyone can do improv with a little training because it is something that comes naturally to us, but it is also, like I said, a craft. So to be able to learn from people who have put in that time to kind of figure out what works, what doesn't work as well, is really powerful to me. And we do have a great batch of people who do improv here already that I'm hoping to tap into too and give them something to take their stuff to the next level. And like I said, we have a good variety of workshops. We have four from local favorites and a New Yorker. And they're
New Yorker.
basically, yeah, right. I can't do accents. Anyway, they literally
Neither
all
can
blur
I.
together. If there is a workshop on accents, that is what I need. But instead, we have, like I mentioned, stuff about musical improv, which is for everyone. Like, you can do it. I know that is like the most terrifying form of an already terrifying thing. But you don't have to sing, and you don't even have to know how to do improv. Like, it's something that is. I was gonna start singing, but I changed my mind. Anyway, um, we are going to have a workshop from Sarah McPeck, who you might know from the stand up comedy scene. But she's bringing a workshop with local drag queens Harry Bradshaw and Misdiagnosis. And they're basically going to talk about um, doing strong character work. And like, who knows how to do character work better than drag queens. So I really
Right.
recommend that one. And it's called Lights, Camera, Sachet. So that will be extra beginner friendly, as is, Jumping Off the Back Line with Chris Rodriguez and Laura Berger, who do Sitzprov. So you'll be able to see them and then learn directly from them on just kind of feeling confident enough to come off the back wall and get into the scenes and do what you have inside you because everyone already has something inside them. It's just about unlocking it. And then we as far as yes and like we give each other
We're gonna have
gifts.
to leave it right there, folks. You're gonna have to go to the
Oh.
workshops to learn what Jada was just about to tell you. But you can go to the website, which is queerandfunny.com, right?
Yes.
And you can get tickets at the door at the Red Eye Theater tonight and tomorrow. Jada, thank you so much for being on The Gaily Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and my next guest is going to give us all the news from Whoville. See, Ryan Shipley joins me from the Children's Theater upcoming production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now that Halloween's over, we got to start dealing with the Grinch. So, see, Ryan Shipley, welcome to The Gaily Show.
Thank you so much.
So the show opens previews on November 5th and then launches into people can buy tickets for that now at childrenstheater.org. But tell us, what is the news from Whoville?
The news is that we're just having a great time connecting with one another, spreading joy. They've been doing this production for several years. The first production was in 1994, so it's been a hit for 30 years now. And it's been a great privilege and pleasure to be a part of it.
I imagine this is one of those shows that must be an absolute riot when you get the kids in there.
Oh my gosh. Truly the reason that I came back was to do the student matinees. The student matinees are pure energy and love and the most honest audience that you will ever have. It's so great.
I have heard that about audiences with under 18-year-olds, that they are very upfront with you about about it, which means that the joy and the enjoyment is just like extra, you know,
Yeah,
extra special. I
yeah,
did get to see a production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas a few years ago, and it was a delight, and it made me treasure the animated series all the more. So it was I loved how they dovetailed together into like this beautiful experience. And so, who do you play in the show?
yeah. I play JP who is Cindy Lou Who's father, and we have a family of. Well, I have 5 children in the show, and my wife Mama Who, and then my in-laws, Grandma and Grandpa Who. So yeah, it's a big family full of yeah.
The character's name is JP.
Yes, JP. Yeah, yeah. And I
Well,
there
obviously, that's
isn't
the best character.
yeah, obviously. Um exactly. Um I I don't know what your initials stand for, but I've decided that my character's initials are Joshua Percival Who. So
Ooh,
it's not,
Percival.
it's not in the script, but I had to do a little
Oh,
creative thinking.
backstory. Absolutely. There's got to be
Yeah.
backstory. You wouldn't be an amazing actor without creating some backstory to it. Uh, so is this the first time that you've done the production? You've done it multiple times now, yeah?
I understudied it 2 years ago, and I ended up understudying it through our COVID experience.
Mm.
And by the time that production closed, I think I had understudied 7 tracks.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I'm pretty familiar with it, but this is the first production that I am not understudying, and I'm happy to be only memorizing one track in Whoville and only wearing one costume. Yeah.
So I'm curious about that. Tell us about the costumes, because obviously the Who's have very intricate features. So like, how long does it take to get into costume and makeup?
Yeah, I mean, makeup is a process for sure. It's actually very similar to drag. We glue our brows down, block them out, draw some new brows on.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a pretty specific makeup, and then everybody is wigged, crazy, crazy wigs, and then we call them our pods. So everybody has a very similar shape. I mean, it's very much from the illustrations in Dr. Seuss's books and the animated special. So there's multiple layers. I have ice packs on under my costume. Not everybody gets them. I'm very lucky that I have ice packs. Um, but
Wait. What does that mean? You have ice packs?
yeah. So I have 2 ice packs on my back to keep me from overheating during the show, because there's layers of the costumes, and I hope that I can say this, but they're like built out of air conditioner um, insulation. So they're highly structured, multi-layered. So I have 2 layers that I put on that provides the structure, and then the actual costume that like zips up, to my neck. Gloves, Pooh shoes that are really long. Um, yeah, I mean the costumes are incredible, and once that the curtain goes out, everybody's just like amazed about.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was amazing. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like they went for it with the costumes, like 100.
yeah,
But so, what is the movement like when you're moving?
yeah. I mean, we
That was a great
we're really
question.
we're really we're really conscious with our spacing because our bodies are are they take up more space than they do in a rehearsal room. So movements can be interesting. I have to sit down and kneel a lot, and the going down on the kneeling is great, and I have to just muster all my strength to get back up from the ground and make it look easy. Um, but I mean, it's really fun. It really does transform your whole being when your look is completely changed. So it's a journey for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess this is just amazing prep for like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the DC universe, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are a little bit more immersed than a green screen, but we are pretty transformed. And it's actually funny when when everybody gets into their costumes for the first time and we're backstage and we all kind of meet backstage, we sing off stage, and everyone's kind of like, who is that? That's you. Because everybody looks so completely different. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love to hear. I love getting the background on productions like this. It's just so people don't know that, you know.
No.
Do you get to take sometimes you get to take kids like backstage so they can see the process and what it's like?
Well, we do a lot of talkbacks, and what I do appreciate about the
Okay.
children's theater is that they are really conscious about making sure that the talkback is not just the performers. So we always have someone from the crew, and we always have someone from the cast. So students who are in the audience who are really excited about theater but may not see themselves on stage, they're able to ask questions about like, well, how do you make it snow, and how does the sleigh tilt, and how does that person fly, and all of those amazing theater magic things that the actors can speak on, but the artists and technicians who do it for a living can really get kids excited about theater in a holistic way. Yeah, so we do some backstage things, but the talkbacks are really where the kids get their information.
That's amazing. I've heard some really I've heard that about children's theater, the intentionality
Yeah.
around the talkbacks and the conversations had with the students. So you currently live in New York with your partner, and you are a professional actor there. So tell us a little bit about your background in terms of acting and the work that you do in New York.
Yeah, so I'm still exploring if I want to pursue theater in New York. It's a different beast for sure. But while I've been there, I did the Samuel French Off Broadway festival, which was amazing. It was,
Oh,
yeah, like
yeah.
five nights of 10-minute plays, and they had, I don't remember how many submissions, but they whittled it down, and there was 5 nights, and I think there were 6 performances each night, and then there was a jury that voted, and we were lucky enough to have our show move on to the final round, and then we were one of the final 6 that were chosen. Howard Ho, who wrote the play, is amazing, and yeah, so it's going to be published next year.
Oh,
And
wow.
so yeah, just kind of exploring my options out in New York, and seeing if I want to do the audition grind that is required if you want to keep performing. But otherwise, I'm just enjoying what New York has to offer and kind of slowly getting settled in. But yeah.
So, folks who have been listening to the show now are going to be like, "Yes, JP, we know." But since you and I are talking for the first time, right? So, like, my
Yeah.
very, very first, academic career was in the theater, and went to a couple acting academies, and so I always, personally, because I never pursued it. I
Mhm.
got done with all of it, and then I was like, I took it on the student loan debt. I'm not going to go any further. I don't understand my thinking back then, but I always love asking actors, particularly queer actors who went into the profession and pursued it. Like, what has it been like for you as an out actor and throughout your career?
Yeah. I mean, I've been very lucky. I went to St. Olaf College in Northfield, and then had this amazing
Yeah.
network to move up to Minneapolis and work. And I was here in Minneapolis, I think, for 20 years. Um, so I really have been very lucky and blessed to have the career that I've had. But it's been, you know, for a career that is filled with queer people, we tell a lot of straight stories. And so I have played every straight tap dancing sailor that you can imagine in the musical theater canon. I've kissed so many women. Um, um, so it's a really interesting duality of like, living your life authentically off stage and then putting on some sort of masculinity on stage to, do your job, but also to make it believable. And so, as my career went on, I found it really, I don't know, challenging in a way. And it's kind of rare to play those characters where you're like, oh, I feel in my body, I feel in my spirit, where I can just be and present myself in a way that feels authentic and not put on. Um, but it's a community that is, on the whole, welcoming to queer people, and it's built by queer people. So you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But it is interesting that it's built by queer people, but it is a capitalistic endeavor. So you want to sell tickets, and that's the story that gets
Yeah.
told. The classic comedy of boy gets girl, loses girl, and gets her back by singing the song. Yeah.
We built it, and somehow the straights have all the power in it. I don't understand how that happened, but
Oh, I know. Yeah.
we love you, straights. We love you. You're good
We
allies,
do.
good
We do.
accomplices.
But we've heard your story. We've heard your story, and then we are the ones who keep telling it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know. I
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about when did you watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the first time? Do you remember that? Because I have a very visceral memory of when I saw it for the first time. It left like an indelible mark on me, particularly
Yeah.
when I found out that oh my gosh, I cannot. The narrator, Frankenstein,
Boris Karloff.
Boris. Thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Boris Karloff. It was. What was it like for you when you saw it the first time? Do you remember?
I don't know if I remember the first time I saw it, but I remember watching it at my grandma Bert's house, and just those nightly specials of Rudolph and
Hmm.
Night Before Christmas and those stop motion animations. But yeah, I absolutely remember it. I remember we actually watched it one of our first rehearsals just to make sure that we were all focusing on the same sort of style and everything. And it's so classic, and it's 23 minutes, and it tells such an incredible story of a full month.
Right.
Um, but I mean, the colors, the animation style, and it's so simple. It really is so simple. I think there's maybe two voice actors in it. I mean, it's Boris Karloff who narrates it, and he also
I
plays the Grinch.
know.
And then there's
Yeah. It's
Cindy
I
Lucy, I think.
hate to I want to keep the conversation going, but we're coming up here on time. C. Ryan
Oh
Shipley,
no!
thank you for joining us on The Gaily Show. Folks, you can get your tickets at childrenstheater.org. Previews start on November 5th, and then it runs through January 5th. Everyone, until next Saturday, have a great weekend, and please get out and vote.
Yes.